The government announced today they will provide an additional $500,000 to the Hawke's Bay Mayoral Drought Relief Fund. This fund has been set up this week by the mayors of Central Hawke's Bay, Hastings, Napier and Wairoa, along with the Hawke's Bay Regional Council to help farmers get through this drought. Joining us now is Hawke's Bay Mayor, Central Hawke's Bay Mayor, Alex Walker. Alex, welcome to Serious Country.
Kia ora, thank you for having me.
You have had a busy old day.
It certainly has been, and ironically, and I think this is the strange thing that happens when we start to publicly talk about drought, is sometimes that liquid gold falls out of the sky.
Is it raining?
It has been a wee bit today, yes. But never mind, because actually this has been a really, really, really hard slog for our farmers since at least January. And so to finally have the minister on the ground today to meet with our people and to commit to this was amazing.
So you sent him a letter, it wasn't that long ago, was it, saying, come on, Damien?
Certainly. Well, the thing was, we got the call from our rural advisory group, I don't know, about a week or 10 days ago, saying, actually, mayors, you could really step up and help us here. And we immediately stepped up to the challenge because we can't always do the practical things on the ground to support our farmers. But in terms of moral support, leadership and raising funds, we can certainly step up to the plate. And we were very quick to do that. So we moved quickly. And so we asked the minister to move quickly.
So this is over and above the $500,000 that was criticised as telling farmers to suck eggs effectively by putting it into farm advisors for feed budgeting. It didn't go down too well, Alex. But of course, this further funding has probably had a lot more criteria around the process of distribution of funding. Could you explain that?
Yeah, so this is... we're in a really unique situation where all of the regions around us who we usually rely on when we're in a dry situation to have feed or grazing options don't have them. That means the logistics of bringing feed in from other places in the country gets more complicated and with some cost attached. And so it makes absolute sense for us and the minister to be helping get through that gap. And so the rural advisory group that we have in Hawke's Bay will be working through ensuring that farmers have got plans and that priorities are met so that feed that's brought in can be distributed in the most meaningful way.
And of course, the main cost of that transport from places in the South Island for it to go to as well.
Absolutely. Well, this is extraordinary times that we're in, and so to support, I don't know, maybe picking up a large amount of baleage from Southland or Otago and putting it on a train or even on a boat to come to the North Island might be necessary, and there's extraordinary cost associated with that. So anything we can do to help that happen and to get through this winter season, it's going to be a bit of a marathon, and it's already been a hard slog.
Well done on that. But of course, everything goes to the long-term strategic planning of our regional councils. And I heard on Hoskins this morning what was he? Paints houses. And he said because of the water shortage, he can't wash down houses to paint them. Therefore, the scaffolding company doesn't get it. The concrete guys can't put down foundations to build houses because they need water. Yet 7 years, there's been a resource consent battle of taking water from the Waikato River. Do we really have to get in absolute crisis mode every time in this country before we actually think about solutions such as water storage and water reticulation?
Yeah, and I think that's the shame of it. And when you look at Hawke's Bay, we were talking about water storage a few years ago, and so to now be back at a crisis point to be talking about water security and storage again, it is a real shame because actually we need to be smartly managing our water for future generations, and that's for a whole lot of reasons, and not just about farming. It's actually a magic ingredient for how our whole society works, and not even just society. It has such cultural significance as well. There's so many reasons why we should be doing this so much more smartly, and to wait for a crisis, I absolutely agree, is just not good enough.
We have been here before in Hawke's Bay, in particular, was it 2013? And even back in sort of some of those times back in the 80s, 70s and 80s, have you had your ear to the ground to some of the learnings of strategies that you've learnt from the past that we can continue to use?
Yes, so certainly we're certainly in a situation now where that this is the driest that we have seen it for decades. To be honest, this is worse than it was in 2007, 2013, or even in the early 80s, and so we certainly have to learn some lessons. And actually, how we how we're allocating water, how we are treating that as our whole community is really important. And everybody is changing the way that they use water, and we need to be really smart about that.
It's great to see Central Hawke's Bay Mayor Alex Walker. And Alex, it's great to be a part of the wider farming community. It's a massive part of the economic undercurrent of your region and your territory. So I'm sure that you would love to see some rain and, of course, these farmers back on their feet.
Absolutely, certainly will be. The primary sector is the backbone of our region and our economy, and doing everything that we can do to get them back on their feet as we come out of this COVID crisis at the same time.
Good on you. Thank you so much, Alex.
This is Sarah's Country.